Welcome back to the second dev diary for the Humankind Ibn Battuta update, which is focusing a little bit on diplomacy and a lot on quality of life changes. So we're going to dive into that, talk about a few new changes, a lot more promising than the previous empire name change, which wasn't really an empire name change. It was more of a leader change that we talked about in the previous dev diary. I have a video covering that too if you want to check that out after this video. And let's just jump straight into the dev diary, talk about the quality of life changes, and talk about the focus for the upcoming patch. So first and foremost, this is probably one of the most significant little things that most people don't think will go too far, but I just really appreciate this. If you look at the cities in the mid to late game, at the size they grow and the sheer populations they bolster, there really is not a lot of diversity in terms of templates and layouts, and unfortunately it feels like a lot of the quarters and districts for these cities are very copy and paste, so to say. There's not a lot of grid work. There is way too much of just repetitive buildings. There's not really a emphasis on like important centers in your city, like historical districts and whatnot, and it is really kind of depressing because each city in the end really ends up looking the same, especially with the different assets that they use in the ancient and classical eras. It feels like these cities don't really have a specific age to them aside from the city centers and the palaces. So it's unfortunate to kind of see that, but the dev diary is trying to change that. Again, this is a small change, but they have kind of altered the way, it's very hard to see from this little screenshot, but they've altered the way that the tiles for the districts kind of look. They've rotated a lot of the designs. They're a lot more random and sporadic. So hopefully that does add some more dimension to the city, but I would like to see some more emphasis on roads, maybe cities and buildings clustering more around rivers and important places of commerce. Maybe if I put down something like a science center and surrounded it with other science centers, or a theater district and surrounded it with more commons quarters or what have you, it would look more prestigious and more developed. I don't know, just something to add more nuance to these city layouts and make them noteworthy. I don't know, maybe just something that makes the cities look more pleasant to look at instead of just a big smog fest. With the Bolivar update, the developers added a specific tooltip to show the requirements to advance to a certain civic, and now the developers are taking it one step further and showing the bonuses to picking a specific civic for both civics. So now it is a lot more educational instead of just what we originally had with the base game launching and showing you really the names of the civics and nothing more. Now, there is something a little bit foggy going on with the Ibn Battuta's Fog of War changes. There's just been a tiny little change to the Fog of War, and now the Fog of War doesn't favor defenders too much. Previously, the defenders had a very big field of vision, so it was very easy really with archers and swordsmen to just scout out an enemy and immediately just hit them down, which for attackers wasn't too beneficial because it was very, very hard to siege cities. Now, defenders should still have some kind of advantage because, of course, they do get defensive bonuses, and if they have built up walls, it makes sense that it would be harder to siege that city than otherwise, but hopefully this at least evens the playing field for attackers. That is it for the second dev diary. I don't think I've missed anything, but if I have, let me know down in the comments below. If you want to see the previous dev diary, click on the top right-hand corner of the screen. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Love you guys. Peace.